the St. Louis International Film Festival, and Story Stitchers, events that you won't want to miss. We'll have details next on City Corner. I'm Steve Potter, and welcome to City Corner. Story Stitchers is a series of podcasts with young people that deal with specific issues, and we're going to find out more about that later in the program. But right now, I'd like you to meet Cliff Froelich. He is Executive Director of Cinema St. Louis, and of course, they are responsible for the St. Louis International Film Festival. Cliff, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve.
How are you?
I'm doing just fine, all things being equal.
Hey, listen, the St. Louis International Film Festival, and I know you're proud of it, but it's a big deal.
Certainly, it's grown ever larger over the years. So this is our 30th anniversary, our 30th edition, I should say. So we're pulling out all the stops, I think, this year, and thankfully, we're allowed to return to in-person presentation.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, what happened last year, just in a nutshell?
We pivoted to exclusively virtual presentation. Thankfully, other festivals went ahead of us, helped plow the ground. And so it was, I'm not going to say it was easy, but by the same token, we had plenty of examples in front of us, and we were able to, I think, pull off a very robust and interesting festival that was entirely virtual. This year, we are going to have a large in-person presence, a little smaller than what we typically do, but we'll also continue that because people do like having the opportunity to see some of these films at home.
Yeah, now you'll still be at the Tivoli, but you have a couple of different locations, right?
Many of the same locations, fewer locations. We are, however, at the Tivoli, which was a near thing because obviously it was sold in the interim. But One Family Church is the new owner, is working with us, and we're going to actually be on all 3 screens at the Tivoli. So we'll have total control of the house. We'll also be at Washington University on our 3 weekends. The festival's longer this year, the 4th through the 21st. So we'll be 3 weekends at WashU, Webster University from the 5th to the 14th, St. Louis Public Library on all 3 weekends. And then last, we'll have a couple of programs at the Contemporary Art Museum.
As you said, it kicks off on November the 4th. Before we get any farther, you were nice enough to bring a couple of trailers of some of the movies we're going to see. And how many movies in total is there?
Somewhere in the neighborhood, as far as total films, including shorts, it's more than 400.
Wow. Well, let's take a look at this trailer, and you can make some comments after it. This is Belfast.
We all have a story to tell. But what makes each one different is not how the story ends, but rather the place where it begins.
Buddy!
Oh, holy God.
Mama says if we went across the water, they wouldn't understand the way we talk.
If they can't understand you, then they're not listening. You know who you are, don't you? Your buddy from Belfast, where everybody knows you.
Hey, buddy! Your mom's calling you! Yes!
We're looking to cleanse the community a wee bit. You wouldn't want to be the odd man out in the street. Touch my family and I'll kill you.
So we're gonna have to leave Belfast?
We'll fight this together. This is it.
This is what?
This is war.
We're living in a civil war.
What do you want?
I want my family with me. I want you. Kids the same age as ours are getting killed. We can give these boys a better chance than we ever had.
I know nothing else but Belfast.
Go now. Don't look back.
That's Belfast, one of the movies that's featured in this year's St. Louis International Film Festival. And Cliff, so they still make black and white movies?
They do. There's a little bit of color in this film, but mostly it's black and white. It's by Kenneth Branagh, obviously well known as an actor as well as a director. He's most famous for his Shakespeare adaptations. This is a very personal film. It tells a sort of autobiographical tale of his childhood in Belfast. He's Irish. A lot of people are not aware of that. Northern Irish specifically, and it's set obviously in '69, so it's during the really heart of the Troubles. But it doesn't deal directly. I mean, obviously it deals with those issues, but it's mostly about the family. Terrific cast. Great music as well. Van Morrison contributes, I think, as many as a dozen songs, all of the period, plus one new song that he's contributed specifically for the film.
I didn't recognize any of the actors' names, but I did see
Judi
Julie
Dench.
Dent.
Yes,
Yeah,
Judy is.
Judi Dench.
And then Jamie Dornan is probably known to, you might not have been a fan of the films, but the 50 Shades of Grey, those films.
No, but I've read about them. You didn't bring a clip of that, did you?
No, that's not playing the festival. So this film won the Audience Choice Award at Toronto major festival.
Cliff, is it safe to say that if a movie's in the St. Louis International Film Festival, it's played at film festivals all over the country?
Are all over the world, yes. We have sort of, because of our positioning in time toward the end of the year, we're able to scoop up a lot of the films that have played all the major festivals, Cannes, Venice, Berlin, more close by, Sundance, Tribeca, South by Southwest, and Toronto. So yeah, we really have sort of like the best of the fests.
Now you're executive director. Chris Clark is artistic director, who we know too. But so do you both have to screen every movie yourself?
If we did, we would never emerge from the house because we receive about 2,000 submissions.
Wow.
So we split up duties, and we have crews of people who also help us as far as doing initial screening. I deal with documentaries primarily, so that's what I do, documentary features. But we have another curator who does documentary shorts. Chris handles narrative features, etc.
Well, this next one really hits home, and it certainly has that St. Louis connection, and that's Ferguson Rises. Why don't we just go ahead and look at that trailer, and we'll talk about it afterwards.
I can hear my neighbor crying, saying I can't breathe.
How do you heal of a senseless murder?
And now I'm in the struggle
Of an officer killing your son in the middle of the street.
saying I can't leave.
Put your lighters up for Mike Brown.
The percentage of black people in Ferguson is 67%, and only 6% of the cops are black. That's what you call the good old white boys club, and that's going to end.
They're always showing the rage and the anger, and that's not really where protest comes from. The commitment comes from the love.
Love is the only thing that really allows us to keep going forward.
Come together united to make that change against one common enemy, the system.
You need to disperse immediately.
I've never been so brokenhearted in my life. The areas that were burned down, those were areas where people who are economically challenged live.
I know that this is not a perfect community. I know that we have things that we have to change, and I am committed to being part of that change.
Nobody woke up that morning when their loved one was dying and say, hey, I want to be the face of the movement.
Losing a child is hard. We have to do things that build us back up.
We must organize, and organize.
The death of my son did do change. Mike Brown equals change. Is it over? It's not never over. It's just the beginning.
I will stand for you. Would you stand for me? Everybody deserves to be free. I can hear my neighbor crying.
We're talking with Cliff Froelich about the St. Louis International Film Festival, which kicks off on November the 4th. Cliff, watching that, I'll never forget, it was just a day or two after Michael Ferguson was killed. I drove by the scene and saw flowers that people had left, and it was just this really strange feeling to be there and experience it. I bet this is an emotional one.
It very much is, and I want to tell people that, you think, I know this story, we've seen this. We've played films about Ferguson previously, for example, Whose Street's another terrific film. This film does a tremendously good job of sort of surveying the entire sweep of the story. Obviously, Michael Brown's death at the hands of the police, the uprising, the non-true bill, the subsequent upset. But it also brings the story forward. And it's really a story about Michael Brown Sr. As much as anybody, and his impulse toward activism. It's a story actually of some hope in the sense that we do see some positive change that's taking place within St. Louis and Ferguson.
And of course, that one's probably seen all over the country too, right?
It will be eventually.
Yeah. We've got time for one more trailer from the festival. We want to take a look at this. This is something, and this is a little bit different than what we've seen so far. All Gone Wrong is the name of it. Let's take a look.
I want to know what a man like you is doing in Kiwani. I can always tell how smart somebody is by how dumb they think I am. No. You go. It stays.
Just interested in your take today? Let's start with when you arrived on the scene.
I posted up with inside of the house. Backup unit was another block out.
Okay, fellas, there's our hero.
I was there when Mikey pulled up and went inside. Then his wire went down.
Just lost the kid's wire. Got suspect exiting the house.
One of our suspects, Goldie, exited the house. Drove off in Mikey's UC car.
Unit 2, we're taking the house.
How am I doing so far?
You just stick to what you know, and I'll get you cleared. There were 30 keys inside that house. Why are we putting Mikey into that? What do you think's going on?
Never should have been in that spot. Never should have gone in that house.
Who told you to come here?
You're dealing with some really smart, really scary people. I hope you know what you're doing.
What kind of investigation is this? You haven't asked me anything of substance.
It's very dangerous for you to think you know everything that's going on here.
I'd be lying if I said this game ain't come with no risk. I'm just trying to turn a pen into a Bentley notice.
It's over, guys. It's done. Beneath.
I can't do business with people like that. Business should be boring.
Drop that gun right now.
Set me up. You set me
Be
up.
cool.
Yeah, looks like things went wrong.
Yeah, it's a crime thriller, entirely St. Louis shot. You'll see some people
I thought that looked like the
recognize.
McKinley Bridge or something.
Yeah, you'll see some people you recognize in this film, and it's by a St. Louis director, Josh Guffey.
Real quick, Cliff, before we go, I want to mention The Last Day because you're paying tribute to a lady a lot of us know, Mary Strauss, who's done a lot of good work in the city of St. Louis. What's happening?
We're going to be paying tribute, as you noticed. We'll also be showing her favorite film, Sunset Boulevard. That'll be a part of it. There will be some songs, some singing, but also a lot of people giving word why Mary is so important to St. Louis and to Cinema St. Louis.
Right, because she's just been a big supporter of yours.
Yes.
Right. And a great old movie to watch, too. Okay, real quickly, how do we go about tickets? There's the virtual stuff. You've got a couple locations. What should people know?
Everything is all in one place. You visit cinemastlouis.org, our website, cinemastlouis.org, and you'll be able to get tickets in advance for both virtual and in person. And then once the festival begins, you can buy tickets on site at the Tivoli and at Webster. Those are the only two places where you have to get tickets. Everything else is free at the library, CAM, and WashU.
Well, we can't wait to see. We're so glad you're back to normal almost. And we look forward to the St. Louis International Film Festival. Cliff Froelich, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'll see you in the theater, I guess.
I hope so. Thank you.
All right, you bet. I'm Steve Potter. Thanks for watching City Corner. Join us next time. See you. Bye.
The Missouri Botanical Garden is loved by green thumbs and non-gardening types alike because You can play. You can relax. And there's always something new to experience, no matter the time of day or the season. And learn about conservation and one-of-a-kind plants. So come and experience St. Louis.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination. But don't just imagine. Use STEM to change the world.
Who's with me?
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Selfie. Nailed it.
What I love about St. Louis is the 79 unique neighborhoods nestled into 108 city parks, including Forest Park, which is actually larger than Central Park in New York, and of course, the beautiful Tower Grove Park where I'm at now. Oh, the St. Louis Blues. We've got the St. Louis Surge, 2-time WBCBL champions. We've got Harris Stowe, WashU, St. Louis University, and of course, the 11-time World Series champion, St. Louis Cardinals. So come experience St. Louis.
I'm Steve Potter. Welcome back to City Corner. Susan Colangelo is the Executive Director of Story Stitchers, and she joins us now. Hi, Susan. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Story Stitchers. I was talking to you before we went on the air, and I was telling you that Story Stitchers really wasn't on my radar, but you've been doing it for a while. What's the brief history of it?
We founded in 2013 because I realized how bad the gun violence was, and I wanted to do something with other artists to try and help the situation.
So Story Itchers, I'm changing the name of it. Story Stitchers are live podcasts involving young people, I guess teenagers to early 20s, and they're discussing issues that have affected their lives growing up in challenging environments. That's the way I'm putting it.
That's one of our projects.
Okay.
So that's called Stitchcast Studio, and it's one of our bigger projects. It's ongoing. The young people have done over 60 podcasts now. They do them in Zoom and live on the stages. But St. Louis Story Stitchers does multiple projects. We do things in the prairies. We do a lot of things about gun violence. We work with the Public Safety Department and the Public Health Department here in St. Louis.
And all these are podcasts? Am I right in it? They're not. Okay, I'm a little mixed up then.
Yeah, so Stitchcast Studio is just one project out of multiple projects that we do. And we do hip hop, music, more traditional music, crump dance, videography, and photography. We basically have performing artists. We do everything original, and we present it to the public, and we videotape everything we do. So we document.
And what's your goal in doing this?
We are trying to help young people to launch into adulthood, especially young people from underserved neighborhoods here in St. Louis, especially African American young people. We work on gun violence prevention a lot.
And how did that happen initially? Did it pop into your head one day?
Sort of. I was volunteering at Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club with a rap artist who had a music program with kids there. And I have 3 daughters. My husband and I have 3 daughters. And there was a shooting in University City near us of 2 girls sitting on their front porch. And one of them passed away. And I was very upset about it and said, oh no, this isn't going to stand. This isn't going to stand here. So I just got my friends together who happened to all be artists, and we founded St. Louis Story Stitchers, and we were a lot of storytellers. Yeah, so
we've got some pictures of things, I think probably from events and things. Let's look at 3 of them. And if you could just tell me what you remember about them and what they're about.
For sure.
They should be up any second. There we go.
That's the Stitchcast Studio logo, so that has to do with our podcasts, and that is about the live shows that we're doing at 3524 Washington Avenue.
And that's like twice a month for 3 or 4 months, isn't it?
Yeah, it's through a National Endowment for the Arts grant, and it's every 2nd and 4th Friday.
Okay, let's look at a couple more images.
That's our logo.
Not a logo.
It actually has, it's an ancient African symbol. It means leadership and community.
And who's this?
This is Rachel. She was young there. She's now a freshman at Webster University studying audio engineering. She's a young musician, and she's actually going to present some spoken word poetry this Friday. She's in the recording booth there, looking at some lyrics. This is one of our staff, Chris Pendleton. We call him Blue Beats. And this is at our facility in Grand Center, where we welcome young people.
So who really puts these all together with all the different topics and things? How's that handled?
We work collaboratively. So we all join together. We decide what we want to do. I find money, grants to do it usually. And we just keep going. And we do it multiple years. So every one of our projects is multi-year, so we can build on it and progressively create refined art.
And who's the audience?
Gosh, we have audiences in cultural venues, museums, or theaters, and we also do a lot of things in city parking lots and empty lots. We go to the Wellston Loop, we go up to Walnut Park and Gregory J. Carter Park, we go to Dutchtown, Thomas Dunn Learning Center, we go to Jeff Vanderloo.
And that's just because that's where the young people live?
That's where the young people live is usually how we get a contact, but then we keep going year after year, because as soon as we finish a performance, they say, come back. And we're like, okay.
We have a little video that we want to show, and I want you to just kind of talk about what we're seeing. I know I think there's some dance moves going on, things like that. And where'd it come from?
The dancers? Well, this is from a grant we did this summer. This is Strauss Park, and these are dancers from all over St. Louis, some city, some county. We had some of the top crump dancers in the area coming in, and we had a recast grant through the St. Louis Violence Prevention Commission, which we're a part of. So we had food trucks. We worked with the Department of Health, and Dr. Eccles came out and did Q&As about COVID vaccines. He even brought a vaccination station to one. WashU came and was interviewing young people about the vaccines. So almost everything we do has something to do with public safety, public health, and it's creative development for young people.
I think you call these, the podcasts, live art interludes, some of them you call them?
Well, within each podcast, so the podcast will be young people. We have 5 microphones, so they might have a guest, like you'd be a great guest.
I would?
Yes, 4 young people with you, and you're sitting in front of mics. And then at some point during the show, the young people will present a poetry, or they might sing a song, or if we're doing it in Zoom, we take things we've already recorded. So when you listen to our podcasts, which are on every major platform, Stitchcast Studio, you'll hear some of our music, or some of the poetry in the podcast.
Is there ever a live audience?
Yeah, that's what we're starting this Friday. Well, we did it in the park all summer, but we're starting inside this Friday. Yeah.
Why did you decide to do that?
Inside?
Well, no, audience.
It's going to get cold. Oh, we like to do everything in public. I mean, normally before COVID, we were always almost everything we do, we're pushing towards public performances, public presentations, either exhibitions or performances.
Let's look at some more images from some of your activities involving young people in St. Louis.
That's Tylea. That's what the mics look like, and that's at a podcast outside. They get lots of T-shirts. We have lots of swag for them, T-shirts and hoodies, and they earn youth stipends, which are supported by the city as well.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to the next one.
And these are, this is a podcast, the last one we published on mental health with a counselor and a therapist, and they're coming back this Friday, actually.
And one more.
And that's another young lady, Trinity. She was a St. Louis Youth Jobs intern.
I'm wondering, what do you sense? How does being involved in these podcasts affect these young people? They're talking about issues that are kind of at the core of their lives, things they've grown up with. Some things aren't pretty. What kind of effect does it have on people?
It has a very strong effect. Almost all the St. Louis Story Stitchers projects, including the podcast, help them build resiliency, which helps them stay out of trouble and launch into adulthood. So they're earning stipends. They're learning to collaborate with each other to create the podcast. Like, you have questions, they have to do that. They research the topics, they research the guests. They learn how to speak in public and microphones with an audience. I mean, a lot of skills that go into jobs.
And those are a lot of things that kids in those neighborhoods might not normally have the opportunity to experience.
Yeah, they don't usually know what a podcast is.
Really?
Yeah. They might see us at a show, or they come to a dance battle or something more popular, or their teacher or therapist might refer them, and then they come in and we put them in a that's one of the first things they do, is go into a podcast workshop.
Susan, I want to ask you about something you said earlier. You said you said you have the young people do these podcasts and there's usually a guest. You said I'd be a good guest.
Yes.
Why would I be a good guest, and what would my interaction with them be about?
Well, when I was sitting here watching you do the last one, you have a ton of experience that they are hungry to learn about. They love to work with older adults.
You had to say that.
Well, I'm ancient to them, unless you're 25, you're ancient to them.
Right.
So, well, you have a lot of experience in broadcasting, and they're really into tech and anything that broadcasts out into the public.
Susan, we're out of time. In 10 seconds, last word about...
Please come see us at 3524 Washington Avenue and say hi to me, and I'll show you all around.
And go to storystitchers.org. Susan Colangelo, thank you so much for being here, and we wish you the best of luck. Great project.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Potter, and thank you for watching City Corner. Join us next time. Bye.